Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So I can't take credit for this video idea. I was asked to kind of do this video by someone over on my blog page on Facebook who said, you know, I'm 14, what should I expect my ADHD to like turn into? Like what's gonna happen in the future? So I kind of wanted to touch up on from when I was a bit younger and kind of work my way up to now and what I've kind of found, and maybe if I've got some advice I'll give it to you. So let's start from when I was roughly, let's say 5 or 6, and we'll work our way up. So when I was probably in like infant school, that's probably like 5 or 6, I can always remember just being alone, spending lunch times alone because nobody liked me, and that's what sticks out to me the most. When I was younger I felt so isolated, kind of like just lonely all the time. Like I just felt like I didn't fit in. Growing up from, let's say, like 5 or 6, maybe 6, 7, 8, 9, that type of age was definitely the hardest part for me, was trying to make friends. And if I made friends, I had to learn that actually they're not just my friends, they're not my property. Like, I had to learn to kind of share friends, and that was the most hardest thing for me, was kind of accepting that, well, that person has other friends. For me, that friend is my only friend and I treasure that friend, but to other people it's kind of like, well, I don't want to play with you today, but it doesn't mean I don't like you. But in my head, if you don't want to play with me, you're not my friend anymore. So growing up, you know, being a young ADHD, it definitely was the most hardest part for me, was trying to understand boundaries in friendship. So that was definitely one of the hardest things. Like when I was a toddler, well, not, is it a toddler? Well, yeah, like a little kid. Is it a toddler? I don't know, like 5, 6. That was the hardest thing, was understanding friendships and trying to maintain friendships. So obviously around that type of age there was many tantrums, but we now kind of found out that they were meltdowns. The word no was never in my vocabulary. I would say no and that was the end of it, but if someone else said no to me, then that was it. Like all hell would break loose. But it wasn't because I was nasty, it's just I didn't understand that actually if I say no, it means no. For me, I was like, well, I want to push the boundaries, I want to do something, so why can't I do it? That was the type of thing that I definitely found the hardest. And again, around that same time, you know, 5, 6, was definitely trying to understand that I can't do everything I want. And that was, again, boundaries, friendship boundaries, relationship boundaries, and like basically like all around boundaries was my hardest thing growing up. So let's kind of jump from the age of 5, 6 to about 10 or 11, and we'll get onto that now. So obviously, like, that was like 10 plus years ago, me being 11. So it's very hard to remember kind of like how I was feeling, but I can definitely tell you that the feeling of isolation and kind of like being different, that was the most kind of like frequent and the most stable kind of feelings I had throughout all my life. You know, even now, like, you feel different, you feel like you don't belong places, you always feel like you're not good enough. Because when I was younger I felt so isolated and I felt so different. As I've grown up, I've tried to kind of, you know, be someone I'm not, because I feel like, well, that's the only way I can fit in. So as I was getting older, I was like trying to mask who I was. So in order to like fit into society, I'd do things just because I thought that's what I was meant to do. And actually that was like the worst thing to do, because I grew up not being Molly. Like, I was a fake Molly. Like, my identity, I had none. I was just copying and pasting from people and peers around me to try and fit in. But even though I did that, it still didn't work. I was still the odd one out because people could just smell my vulnerability. And along, like, you know, from the age of, I'd say 11 to 12, this was when I started secondary school, and my academic kind of achievements, my academic age was definitely below average. I was really bad at maths, my English was okay, and everything else was just kind of like plummeting. I wasn't doing great in school. Friendships, again, was the most hardest thing for me. Again, the word no, following rules, authority started to really become more of an issue and more of a challenge. Like, it was more like, well, I want to do it, so I'm gonna do it. It became more challenging, and that type of negative behavior became more and more like enticing for me. Like, I wanted it because I wasn't getting any other attention. I couldn't make friends, and that was like a really horrible feeling. So the only way that I could numb this pain was kind of like by being the class clown and making myself to the centre of attention by doing things that, well, I shouldn't be doing. And I knew that it was wrong, but I didn't care about the consequences. It was like, and I want to do it. So through secondary school, like I say, my behaviour was really, really bad. It was difficult, you know, not only for me, but for my parents, my family, the teachers around me. It was very, very difficult to try and maintain me as a person. So like I said, I know people have put their lives on the line for me. They've stuck by me, you know, they've worked hard to try and keep me on the right path, but unfortunately through school that just didn't work. You know, like I ended up in a pupil referral unit part-time because my behaviour just, you know, it just didn't work in mainstream school. I had 2 teachers that were really helpful. They helped my family, they stuck by me, but even that, it didn't make any difference. It was like I just didn't fit in, and I didn't feel like I wanted to be there. It was just a routine for me. It just became a challenge, and as I got older through school, obviously my behaviour became worse and worse. Friendships became worse and worse and were becoming more volatile. My attitude was becoming worse too. But I was becoming more volatile. My behaviour was becoming more volatile. I was becoming stronger, harder to restrain, harder to keep going. Like, people just begun to kind of give up on me, and I didn't care. I didn't care about these things because in my life I've only ever tried to fit in, and the only way I'm getting the attention that I want and the attention that's stimulating my mind is by doing this negative behaviour. So I don't care about the consequences. I want that like dopamine, I want the adrenaline, I want the attention, I want someone to just know I'm here. Because being at school, education wasn't giving me that buzz. Nothing was giving me that buzz. I was bored. No one understood me, and I was just bored. I had no friends to confide in. I didn't fit in anywhere. So as I got older, it just became more of like a routine and more like natural for me just to be the misfit, because it was just the way it was going to go. I worked hard to try and fit in, and that still didn't work. So to me, I was left with no option really other than to just do what I want. But alongside school, obviously, I had a home life. My home life was a wrecking ball, kind of. Like my mood swings were swinging, you know, really fast, like a bloody pendulum. I was crazy hormonal. My relationship with my dad was abysmal. My sister and I didn't get on very well. You know, me and my mum didn't get on very well. Everything was just really toxic, and my behaviour was toxic, and people around me were getting fed up with it. They couldn't cope anymore because it was becoming too intense, and people would just I don't know, people just didn't want to be around me. I became well aware that my parents were also becoming one of those people that just didn't want me, like they didn't want me around. People just didn't want me around. So again, I started to feel that at home as well. Not because my parents didn't want me, but I could feel that I wasn't what they kind of wanted as a child, and I felt like a disappointment. Everything just started to just spiral out of control, you know, and my self-confidence, I hated who I was as a person. I hated my body. I wanted to be someone else. I always compare myself to other people, still to this day. But as I was growing up, that was becoming more and more of an issue. I didn't want to be me. I wanted to be someone else. So I tried to be someone else and it didn't work. Then I tried to be someone else and then again, it didn't work. My life just became like a copy and paste and kind of like trying to find out where I fit in, because I didn't even know who I was, because I've always tried to be someone else. I lost Molly along the way. My one piece of advice to any young ADHDer would be stay true to who you are. Never change. You know, if people aren't respecting you or they don't respect you as a friend, then honestly they don't deserve you, because you are good enough. You don't ever need to change. So basically, I just grew up feeling like the disappointment, the family disappointment, and I was used to that feeling, so it kind of I just became numb to it, and I didn't really bother trying to change that because I was so used to it and it was natural to me. So I just thought, who cares? And that was the most stupid decision I could have ever made, like giving up on myself. I should never have done that. If I can give anyone a little bit of advice, you know, it would be stay true to who you are and never give up on yourself, because you are worth it, and you really are. Giving up on yourself is just, it's not worth it. It's honestly, it's not worth the feelings that you get when you realise that you don't like yourself anymore. So I want you to know that having ADHD is very, very difficult and it's hard, and as you get older it does get hard, but as you also get older, you start to realise what your triggers are and who you want to be. And when you start to believe in yourself and you give yourself credit and you start to allow yourself to express yourself in different ways, trust me, ADHD kind of just goes to the back of your mind, because you realise that it's not an obstacle. It's not. And once you come over that hurdle of ADHD, trust me, it's no longer an obstacle, a hurdle in your way. It's more like a step up. It helps you. Trust me, when you learn to appreciate all the things that ADHD gives you as a benefit, trust me, you will be thriving. So life is a journey, and whatever path your ADHD takes you down, you know, it could take you down the bad path like it took me. But I'm here now, living proof that actually, once you learn to appreciate who you are, love yourself, respect yourself, give yourself the amount of respect you deserve, and you give yourself the opportunities to thrive and to be who you are, trust me, you will never, ever, ever, ever feel like you do right now. So never give up on yourself. Honestly, it's not worth it. Once you give up on yourself, you're allowing yourself to fail, and it's not fair. You don't deserve to fail. You deserve to thrive. And you deserve people around you that are gonna give you that boost, who are gonna, you know, really encourage you to bring out the best in you. If people want you to do bad things, if people want to encourage you to be silly in class, or be the class clown, or to bunk lessons, or anything like that, they aren't the right people for you. I am not gonna preach that, you know, should be good in school, because I know I can't really talk. But what I want to tell you is I've been at What I really want to tell you is I've been there, I've done it, I've been the class clown, I've been the one that's been excluded, I've been the one that doesn't get any of the GCSEs they want, they can't study what they want to study at college, and everyone else is just looking at you like, because at the end of the day, being the class clown is not going to get you a job. It's not going to get you your dream career. It's not going to get you any big, I don't know, award or certificate. Like, it doesn't get you anything. And what I want you to know is, yes, okay, you can have a laugh, but you need to realise when it's going to affect your life, your future, and other people's. So, like I say, I've been there, I've done it, and what I want to tell you is it's not worth anything. Being the class clown, it doesn't get you anywhere. Like I just said, it gets you nowhere other than kind of lost, and you just feel like, well, what's the point? And it's not a very good place to feel, trust me. It's not a good place to be. You don't surround yourself with the right people because you feel like you're worth nothing. And when you get to that point, it's really, really hard to start climbing back up that positive mountain. It becomes more kind of like, you know, when you start piling laundry, you think, oh, I'll put that in the laundry basket tomorrow. And then you do it for like 3 or 4 days and loads of clothes start piling up. That's how it feels when you start to like just not bother with yourself. Problems, 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 and then you start to feel kind of like claustrophobic in your own life, and you just feel like I'm stuck. And that's how it feels. And I want you to know that if you are at that point, or you get to that point, there is a point of return. All you have to do, honestly, is look yourself in the mirror and just put your point across. Like, where do you want to be? What is your future? Who do you want to be? Because once you give yourself the opportunity to figure out who you are, what you want to be, where you want to go, honestly, things are, they can look up for you. Honestly, they will start looking up for you. And what you need to realise is asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's never a sign of weakness. If you're struggling, put your hand up in class, say, look, I'm not getting this, I don't understand, like, I'm struggling. If anyone laughs, then they're just an immature person, and obviously they're struggling too. So, or if you're afraid of people laughing at you, put your hand up and say, can I just speak to you outside, please? You know, things like that, I can honestly, that will change people's perspective of you. Even though I know some teachers are absolute heads, but they do know what they're doing. A lot of the time they know what they're doing, and if they can help you, they will help you. Some teachers, like I say, they just don't care, and they have this thing about kids with ADHD or kids with a little bit more challenging behaviour. Like, there are teachers out there that will generally just kind of write you off. But when you find teachers that care, please do not push them away, because honestly, they are literally so 1 in a million. So when you find them, please ask for help and tell them how you feel, because that could really help you. I've got wise words from teachers that really did help me, and one day I might share that with you. But let's get back to being 13, 14, 15. So this next age was definitely difficult. Boys were introduced into my life, boyfriends, more friends. Then I went to college and a car was involved, and basically I had no concept of boundaries. Boundaries has always been an issue for me. Danger has always been an issue. I don't know when to stop. I'm kind of fearless. So when it comes to making the right decisions, don't come to me. I would just rather make other people happy and laugh and kind of forget about the consequences, deal with them later. No. Don't do that. Think about the consequences first. That's obviously where I went wrong. Always think like, what could happen? Who can it affect? Can I get hurt? Can someone else get hurt? What are the worst case scenarios? Think of things like that before. So I've been in some situations where I really should have thought about the consequences first and kind of not just ran away with my own little impulsive mind. But as you get older, you will start to realise what your triggers are and kind of like who are the right people, who aren't the right people. And that's my lesson for you guys. Try and figure out what your triggers are and try to get yourself around good people. People that are interested in the same thing. People that aren't going to make you do drugs, like, you know, pressurize you to drink alcohol or get involved in the wrong type of crowd. Don't do that. Like, honestly, don't do that. Yeah, don't. It's not worth it. I know all of this is easier said than done, but I'm saying this because you might be watching this and a little bit of this information might be what you need to hear right now. And if it is, you're welcome, because I wish I had this video when I was growing up. But basically, all I want to say is, all throughout my life, my biggest issues have been maintaining friendships, relationships, understanding like emotions and being able to control my own emotions. I've always been the hot-tempered person who would just literally like blow like a volcano. My emotions literally swing so bad, and you know, it's crazy. But once you kind of grow up and you start to realise who you are and what you want to be, you will find ways to cope with your ADHD. Obviously, it's not going anywhere. So as you get older, your hyperactivity may not represent itself in ways like bouncing off the walls. It can turn into hyper-focus, like having racing thoughts, like intrusive racing thoughts, and not being able to control, you know, ideas, like jumping from one project to the other project. As you get older, your ADHD traits might change, and things that you found hard as a kid may not be as hard as they used to be, because as you get older, you kind of just get on with your life. You try your hardest to just push ADHD aside. It's hard, but as you get older, you kind of learn to just push it aside, and you just learn building blocks to help you get over that obstacle, rather than, you know, just running straight through it. No. You learn ways to help you get over it safely and in a more helpful way. You learn along your journey, and life is a journey. You will make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. Even those people that claim to be perfect, trust me, they aren't. They will make mistakes, and sometimes, you know, they won't tell you they make mistakes, but they will tell you that, oh, I've lost 10 stone, or I've gained 1,000 pounds, I've done this, I've done that, I won the lottery. People will tell you all the good things. Like on Instagram, people will post the best looking selfie, but they won't tell you that they're struggling and what happened like 15 minutes before that selfie. People won't tell you the truth, and what I want you to know is life is a journey. People make mistakes. You will make mistakes. I've made plenty of mistakes, and what I want you to know is, you don't have to worry about that, because your mistakes are going to give you the life experiences you need to be the best version of yourself. But what I want you to know is, you are strong enough, you are able enough to get yourself through this. All you have to do is believe in yourself, and trust me, you can do it, because you are worth it. You being you is enough. Please never give up on yourself, because I believe in you, and trust me, there's plenty other people that will believe in you too. So thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you guys will take something from this, and I really hope that if there is something you're needing to hear, you've heard it here, and I can help you grow into the best version of yourself. So thank you so much for watching. Remember to give me a like and a subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Comment down below, let me know what you thought. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Bye.